Buju, Wagoshindigu, Minawa, Migizi and Dodem, Gazlagasqua, Jimekag, and Dunjaba. I'd like to share a little bit with you today about the Ojibwe clan system. Throughout all of Ojibwe country and all of the related tribes, there are actually 29 different tribes in the Algonquian language family. There is a clan system. And clans are in part a sigil for your house. They're usually an animal, bird, or fish. And so it's just represents your house and your line, but they also double as a spiritual guide. And our clan system is a bit complex and it's changed a lot over time, but it's still a really important part of Ojibwe culture. The deeper meaning of the word clan in Ojibwe, the word is Dodem. And in fact, the English word totem comes from this Ojibwe word, Dodem. And in Ojibwe, the root day, the smallest meaningful parts of words often tell you a lot of what people were thinking, the Ojibwe worldview. And the root day pertains to something at the heart or center. So for example, Ode means his or her heart, and Odena means a village or the heart or center of where the people gather and live. De way a gun is a drum, and de meaning heart, way meaning sound. The word for drum literally means a heartbeat. And Dodem or clan is kind of at the heart or center of our spiritual identity. And a long time ago, there are many legends about how clans originated and changed and spread. I rely a lot on one of my elders, Archie Mose, who shared a story about the very first humans, and that the very first family of humans was 7 brothers and 7 sisters who were arranged in marriage with one another and created the original clans and clan system. And after that, it was always taboo to marry someone who was a family member. And in fact, if somebody has the same clan, they're considered family. They might live 1,000 miles away, come from a totally different community, have no biological connection, but they would still be viewed as a sister or a brother just by virtue of the fact that those people have the same clan. So the clan taboo is really significant. And the way that clans worked is in former times, your clan used to be one of the major determining factors for the kinds of positions you might be groomed for in society. So for example, people from, one of the chief clans would consistently be groomed for political leadership. People from one of the warrior clans might be raised and groomed for protection and war. Others might be groomed for positions of spiritual leadership and so forth. The clan system wasn't completely confining, however, and Ojibwe country is huge. Today, it spreads from all the way to the east on the Quebec border in Canada, all the way out to Saskatchewan, and in the United States across many different states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota. There's even an Ojibwe Cree community in Montana. And across that span, it's really not quite accurate to say there is an Ojibwe culture. There are many Ojibwe cultures. They're all interconnected. We come from the same, biological and cultural and linguistic point of origin, but there's no one institution that makes all the cultural rules. So as people spread out, then our cultures shifted and changed, and you got many different dialects of Ojibwe, and they're all right. They're all correct in their understandings of their own culture. And all I can really share with you is my perspective about what I was told by my elders in the Minnesota, Wisconsin area. And it has quite a strong parallel and connection across all of Ojibwe country, but I'm not claiming to speak for anybody else. So the original clans, there were only 7 original clans. Today, there are over 20 clans. And so new clans ended up being added to the repertoire in a couple of different ways. One is clans were introduced through marriage with people outside of Ojibwe communities. For example, the Wolf clan was introduced in Dakota paternity in marriage between a Dakota man and an Ojibwe woman. I also share in my book, Warrior Nation, A History of the Red Lake Ojibwe, how the Kingfisher clan was introduced at Red Lake and then proliferated throughout Red Lake up to Roseau River and over to Turtle Mountain and so forth, and ended up becoming a really numerous and important clan there. So that's one of the ways that clans changed and diversified, and we got new clans introduced. Also, sometimes one of the clans would split into different groups. And for example, the Martin clan was one of the original clans and considered a warrior clan. And a lot of times people from the Lynx clan today will trace their lineage and say, we were originally part of the Martin clan and we split off and diversified. Today, if somebody's from the Martin clan and the Lynx clan, those are considered separate and distinct clans. Like, you know, they could marry each other and things like that. But that's another way that some of the clans diversified and grew. In Ojibwe culture, the original chief clans are the Loon and the Crane. And the Loon is sometimes considered the lesser chief. They have the pretty voice and they're the diplomats. And in fact, when there was a treaty signing, sometimes there would be 4 weeks of conversations, and the Loons would lead most of those conversations. And then when they were done, then the Cranes would come in, considered the kind of preeminent chiefs, like famously Chief Bijiki from Wisconsin was one of these chiefs who had a lot of sway throughout an entire area. And then the Cranes would come in and they'd say, I think you understand where we're coming from. Now here's what we're going to do. And so in a way, the Loon represents diplomacy and the Crane represents command. And it's kind of a good model no matter what your clan happens to be. When you're in conversation with other people, it's good to lead with your Loon, to be diplomatic and kind, to seek to understand and be understood. And then once that's happened, it's okay to still be strong in your beliefs. But if we lead with the Crane and tell everybody, here's how it's going to be, we can kind of chase everybody away from the table and then complain about eating alone. So I've always found that metaphor. I happen to be from the Eagle clan, but I've always found that metaphor really helpful to me when dealing with other human beings. Now, one of the other really important dimensions of Ojibwe culture is that as the clan system shifted and changed and diversified, then its function also changed, not through assimilation, but through Ojibwe actions on their own part. For example, the Ojibwe were moving from a population nexus around Sault Ste. Marie westward through Wisconsin, Minnesota, into North Dakota, and so forth. And as that happened, it was really common for a new area that Ojibwe people were moving into to have a population centered around people from clans that were primarily warrior clans. And what happened is places like Leech Lake, Red Lake, and so forth were settled by Ojibwe people who didn't have any Loon or Crane clan members present at the time that they were established as Ojibwe communities. And so what happened then is that Ojibwe people had to pick chiefs from who was present among the existing clans. And in places like Leech Lake and especially up at Red Lake, then most of the clans were dominated by people, most of the chieftainships dominated by people from warrior clans, especially the Bear clan, but also, Martin and a number of other clans. So when you look at the flag for the Red Lake Nation, they say 7 clans as the original clans. Those are the clans of the hereditary chiefs present when they were developing, the 7 clans idea and the new Red Lake flag back in 1989, pretty recently. And when they put those clans on the flag, you'll notice there's no Loon and there's no Crane. But Red Lake had chiefs ever since that place was established as an Ojibwe as Ojibwe communities. And so that too is cultural change orchestrated and engineered by Ojibwe people because of the unique circumstances of Ojibwe expansion, not simply as a factor of assimilation, but it changed the nature of the clan system. So on the one hand, chieftainship was hereditary and often within those two Loon and Crane clans for a long time. But as we shifted and moved, then our whole chieftainship system shifted and changed too. Another dimension of the clan system is that in the Ojibwe world, clans are handed down strictly patrilineally. That doesn't mean that the clan system is patriarchal, that it's just all male dominated. In fact, oftentimes in Ojibwe culture, the woman was considered the owner of the wigwam or the home. And things like divorce, women had a lot of power and say in that. Even something as simple as setting her man's belongings outside the door was enough to say, we're done. And he'd pick up his stuff and he'd have to move. But the clan system, what who your clan is was determined by the clan of your father. So, if your father's Bear Clan, you're Bear Clan. And necessarily every home is going to have more than one clan represented because people didn't marry people of the same clan. And as a result, we have in the modern age a number of different questions and challenges that come up. So one thing is just to be aware, this is the Ojibwe custom, and many other tribes, including all of the Iroquoian tribes, have a matrilineal clan system. You follow the clan of your mother. Other tribes have very different systems altogether. And in fact, within the Algonquian language family, the Potawatomi, uh, at Forest County have a custom where boys follow the clan of their father and girls follow the clan of their mother. So there's a lot of cultural variation. But within the Ojibwe world, the question then comes up, what if you have a non-native father? And here too, you'll see a couple of different ways that people have handled this. So throughout Wisconsin and Minnesota, the custom is if someone has a non-native father and a native mother, that they're automatically adopted into the Eagle clan. So they would become Migizi Dodem. And in other areas, further north and east in parts of Canada, the adopting clan is the Martin clan. And so you might see a little regional variation. In Northwestern Ontario, they'll often tell people, just go to a shake tent ceremony, which is one of our ceremonies where people often bring questions that need to be answered directly by the spirits themselves. And the shake tent will give indication like who your clan is. And then once established, that clan is handed down patrilineally to a man's offspring and so forth. Also, another question comes up, what if you do have a native father, but your native father doesn't know what his clan is? You were adopted out, you were fostered out, you were raised in urban areas and nobody knows, what the clan happens to be. In cases like that, people are encouraged to go to a shake tent ceremony and they will kind of look through your family tree in a spiritual sense and tell you what your clan is. So that's where we usually address those kinds of questions. There are many others too that come up. And so, clan is a really important part of our cultural patrimony. It's still a foundational piece. We require clans for initiation into some of our sacred societies, that people know who their clan is. And it's just kind of one of those basic things that's, an important piece of identity as Ojibwe people. At the same time, through no fault of their own, a lot of us just didn't grow up fluent speakers or immersed in our culture, and we have to rebuild and reclaim our culture. So learning about your clan is a really important way to do that and to get started. Miigwech. Thanks for watching today. I'm Anton Treuer. Let's keep in touch. I'm active on social media, and my website has lots of information on my books, speaking engagements, free Ojibwe language resources, resources for teachers, and more. Miigwech.